Woo! This is the Fight Guy. I have a short, sweet video for you guys. It's unlike anything I've ever done on my channel before. I am back from a little hiatus. Of course, all of you know we did not have a UFC card this past weekend, so I was traveling around. I was training a bunch of jiu-jitsu. I saw some family, but most importantly, why you want to stick around for this video is I attended a jiu-jitsu seminar hosted by UFC legend in the making, Mr. Thug Nasty himself, Bryce Mitchell. This was at one of the best jiu-jitsu gyms in the world, 10th Planet Austin. I drove over 450 miles. My car broke down on the way home. It was worth every second of the trip. 10 out of 10 experience. I enjoyed it. If you're thinking of getting into jiu-jitsu, maybe you already train jiu-jitsu and you haven't been to a seminar before, you're curious how it works, you want to stay for this video. I will have a prediction video for the UFC card on Saturday coming out tomorrow, so don't worry, just doing some tape study on that. But for this video, I'm going to go into the techniques that we learned. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of Bryce teaching it himself because it was not allowed for obvious reasons. But I do have footage of me rolling around, which I'll go over a little bit at the end of the video. It's going to be a short, sweet one for you guys. But we're going to start with a technique that was taught. The very first technique that Bryce was teaching was this takedown called the tractor pull. Essentially, it's from a double underhook position here. This is a pretty good image of it, actually. But it's whenever you get these two underhooks, you lock your hands and your hips should be perpendicular to your opponent's hips. And it's like a spinal drag, right? You have your head against their chin, you have the underhooks locked in, and you're twisting. You're rotating clockwise or counterclockwise, depending what side. And it's very weird. I haven't felt a takedown like this really in my life. And I've wrestled more than half of my life. I've done jiu-jitsu for about 4 years now, something like that. And yeah, this was a very weird takedown that I'm most certainly going to start using. If you guys want to see a video of me breaking down these techniques on the mats, let me know in the comments, and I'll go and I'll shoot that, and I'll post it sometime within the next week. But this was a very weird takedown, just the way that it felt. There's only one real way you could defend this once it's locked in, and that's to step in front for like a judo throw. But as soon as you step in front, we did learn a counter where you just roll backwards and you end up in side mount. So this was a beautiful takedown, beautiful technique taught by Bryce Mitchell, and it's something you see him do in his game. Whenever he gets you in the clinch or gets you against the fence, usually Bryce will take you down. And this is one of his favorite takedowns. So it was very, very unique, very niche, and something I'm going to be using in the future, and I'd like to see it more in MMA. But the next technique he was teaching was out of the dogfight position. For those of you who don't know what the dogfight is, you see it a lot in the UFC. You see it a lot in jiu-jitsu even. But essentially, it's like a 50-50 position. I mean, this is a dogfight. This is a dogfight. This is a great picture of a dogfight. Essentially, when one guy has an overhook or a whizzer, as you can see here, and the other guy has the underhook. We were learning different ways to finish this with a knee shelf. It's where you take the knee of your opponent in the middle and you shelf it on your outside leg. And essentially, there's different ways you could finish from there. Bryce does this very well. And he spent about 20 to 30 minutes in his teaching when he was lecturing on how to do the moves. So, he taught all kinds of variants. He went into very specific detail. He's very good at teaching classes. So if you ever get the chance to go to a Bryce Mitchell seminar or to train with Bryce, definitely take that chance. This was very valuable information. I do decent in the dogfight position, but there's no like real technique or moves that I use. It's more so like from a wrestler perspective, wrestler feel, because you do get in this position a lot in wrestling as well. But yeah, this was a great technique that Bryce taught. But moving on to my favorite technique, the most valuable one, I'd say, learning it from Bryce Mitchell himself, who has one of the 3 twister submissions in UFC history. And it was just different ways to finish the twister. If you don't know what the twister is, it is the most lethal, the most dangerous submission in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's banned even in a lot of tournaments, especially at the white belt, blue belt level. For the simple reason as, like an arm bar, for example. You cannot tap to an arm bar, you'll get a broken arm. You cannot tap to a Kimura, you'll get a broken shoulder, omoplata, whatever. So you get what I'm saying. You cannot tap to a heel hook, you'll end up with a broken foot. If you don't tap to a twister, you end up with a wheelchair. If you're lucky, this thing, it'll break your neck, it'll separate, the top of your vertebrae from the rest of the vertebrae. And you see here, This is a great example of a twister, but it's like from a lockdown position with the legs, and then you're reaching across and you're pulling the head towards your body, and you could see right there. I mean, it's the most uncomfortable position you can get in. And that for that reason, it's banned in a lot of tournaments. So Bryce taught techniques on how to get into the twister, from turtle, from mount, from the back take, and he taught how to maintain control with the twister, which is the bread and butter. That's the most valuable advice I think he gave in the seminar, was how to maintain control, either with the fork, the knife, or the spoon is what he called it. And like I said, if you guys want to see a more technical breakdown, I'll shoot a video of me doing these positions. Just let me know in the comments if that's something that you guys want to see. But essentially, that's everything that Bryce taught. It was about a 3-hour-long seminar with the open mat included at the end. And I do have a little footage here of me rolling around at the open mat that I'm going to go ahead and play for you guys. So let me move that up. Where you at? There it is. Okay. This is me on the right. Let me move my camera so you guys can see. This is me on the right on top of this bigger guy. He was a little bit rude. I'm not going to lie. So, bigger guy, if you're watching this, I don't remember your name. You don't need to be rude. Or if you're trying to be funny, you need to work on your delivery, because I asked him if it was okay if I record the roll, and he said, I mean, sure, but I told him it was in case I get injured. You know, I like to have footage, you know, of what happened, because I did blow my knee out. But also, I don't normally record my rolls, and it's a good way to correct your bad habits and to see what you did wrong. But he did give me a little bit of shit for recording. I asked him if he wanted me to turn the camera off. He said, "Nah, man, it's okay." Just didn't believe me. Usually, everybody's nice. This was like the first rude person I've ever met at Jiu-Jitsu. Everybody's always been nice, the best atmosphere, the coolest people. So, you know, we just roll around here. We're scrambling. I think he did tap me out there at the right, but the camera cut it off. But yeah, he was laying on his back most of the time. This was one of the highlights of this roll. I did try a no-leg triangle here. You see, I just stepped over for the head. I made the mistake by not lacing my right arm over my foot. I could have finished this, I think. I've never finished the no-arm triangle before, the no-leg triangle before. I'm going to keep drilling it. I'm going to keep working on it. I will get a finish one day, but essentially, you know, that was really all that happened in this roll. We were scrambling around a lot. He was laying on his back for most of the time. I tried to get rubber guard in here, but he was just too high over my hips. I couldn't do it. Yeah, you see me try and you see me fail here. But we'll move on to the next roll. It's a little bit more fun. I lost the footage of the last roll, but this guy was really cool. I'll just move my camera down here. He was asking about my name. I was like, guy. It's like guy. He was cool, though. We're both athletic. I was a wrestler. I don't think this guy wrestled before. It was really easy to take him down. But like I said, he was very athletic, so we were both moving around, you know, a lot here. Right here, I tried to take his back, and I ended up in full guard. I gave him an ankle lock, but he did not take the bait. But yeah, it was a lot of rolling around, a lot of scrambles, switching positions. You know, here he's got a front headlock on me. We stand back up. I think I take him down again here. I go for like a duck or a chuck, almost like a fireman's carry. We call it a barrel roll in wrestling. Flipped him right over, and then I end up within a Kimura. A lot of times, like, I'll use skills that I learned in wrestling from the sport of wrestling growing up, and they'll get me in trouble in jiu-jitsu. And this is just a small example of that. He locked up this Kimura a couple times. He didn't tap me with it, but he used it to throw me around and sweep me over. If you guys don't train jiu-jitsu, this is what it's like. You know, it's really chill, 5 to 7 minute rounds. Everybody just finds a partner, and, you know, you just go hard in the paint. This guy on the right here, in the orange rash guard, you'll see him in a second. He was a D1 wrestler, I believe. I lost the footage of us rolling after this match, but man, it was fireworks. But here, you know, we're just scrambling, like I said, switching positions a lot. This was a move that Bryce was teaching from the dogfight. You could see he steps on my Achilles heel right here. Felt amazing. But it was one of the strategies that Bryce was going over in his dogfighting lecture. He steps on my heel, so I cross to kind of prevent him from stepping on that foot so easily. And yeah, you know, it was a pretty fun round here. Neither of us tapped each other out. He tried to maintain back control here. This is something I learned in wrestling, but they teach it in jiu-jitsu as well. But anytime somebody's on your back and they don't have underhooks with their arms, you see how he posts his right arm on the mat there? that told me, okay, this guy doesn't have double underhooks. Even though you could also feel it, but when you see a hand post, you know instantly to stand up. So as soon as I saw the hand post, I stood up, and I'm going to scoot my butt out. Watch the way I scoot my butt out. Shake, 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 and he falls off. Shake, shake, shake. That easy. Shake, shake, shake. And I think I do it again here in a minute. This is kind of like a similar position we were just in. And then look, he's on my back. All you got to do is stand up here. If they don't have the underhooks in, 90% of the time you're safe to just get up. And right here, I do so. I just stand right back up. He's savvy to the game because I just did it. You see, he swept me over with a Kimura again, but that was the timer. So that was all she wrote for that one. But yeah, that was just a quick video, about 10 minutes long, nothing too crazy, breaking down a Bryce Mitchell seminar, what it's like. If you've never been to a seminar before, I would highly recommend it, especially if it's a fighter or an athlete that you really like. It's a good way to kind of build different techniques. And with that being said, a lot of people, you see this in the UFC, oh, he's not a real black belt, or oh, he's got a black belt under this guy. I doubt it. Whenever it comes to black belts in jiu-jitsu, just because you're a black belt doesn't mean you know every technique. It shows that you've mastered most positions. You got submissions from different spots. You have countless sweeps from different spots. But what I learned from this seminar is there's different systems in jiu-jitsu that work well depending on the way that you like to roll, the way that you like to fight. If you like to stay on your feet, some other guy's jiu-jitsu system might be better for you than Craig Jones's jiu-jitsu system or Gordon Ryan's jiu-jitsu system, for example. So it's good to go to seminars to kind of learn different techniques, to put together your own game plan. And like I said, just because you're a black belt, it doesn't mean you know all these different systems. Different systems work better against different guys, and they work better depending on what you like to do. And it was an amazing seminar. I learned some things that I could apply to my jiu-jitsu system well. And if you ever get the chance to go to a Bryce Mitchell seminar, certainly don't pass up on that opportunity. Real quick, before I end this video, I will have a breakdown about UFC Vegas 107, I believe it is, maybe 108. Macy Barber is taking on Aaron Blanchfield. It's a very mid fight night card, if to say the least. Nothing that's going on in this card is really going to impact the future of the UFC for the most part. I think Gamrot's fighting somebody who he should not be fighting, and everybody's counting Gamrot out. Nonetheless, I'm going to have a video breaking all that down for you guys tomorrow. I have a little bit more tape study to get through, and I got to go to a jiu-jitsu class tonight. But if you guys want to see a video of me breaking down those techniques in more fine detail, let me know in the comments, and I'll do that for you. But other than that, thank you so much for watching this special video of the Bryce Mitchell 10th Planet Austin seminar this past weekend. And I will see you guys tomorrow for a UFC Fight Night breakdown. We had last week off, but we're back, baby. Let's get it. I'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching.